Hey, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, whatever time it is you're watching this. We have a big week ahead of us. I'm going to make things quick. By watching or reading this, you're saying you understand the following. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not trading advice. This session is solely for educational purposes. There's significant financial risk associated with options trading, and I'm not liable for your wins or losses in the market. If you decide to act on this information, let's hop right in. Okay, so sector performance via options flow. All right, so top call options flow on Friday went into Meta, Palantir, MSTR, Oracle, and Amazon. On the short side, um, the top put options flow went into NVDA, TSM, Tesla, MU, and HD. Damn, I'm shorting the hell out of the semiconductors. Let me just making a note really quickly. All right, cool. Just one second. Back. All right, so I can see now. All right, so in our top call options flow for the week went into Google, Meta, MSTR, Home Depot, and Apple. On the short side, we have NVIDIA, Tesla, Coin, AMD, and Broadcom. All right, here we go. Cool. So, all right, we're in the end of the year. Again, I haven't updated this slide since October the 15th. We're well over $60,000 for the year. And these are just for in net profits if you grab just one contract per trade alert. So I'm not going to go through all of these. I'll wait till the end of the year to kind of go through all of them. But these are our profits every month, and they're in net profits. You can go through them or go through the previous slide and the previous meetings to see where we are. All right, so this is the first week of December. So for the first week of December, we cleared $1,950. And this again, this is net profits. And so as you can see already, just with 1 week of trading for the first week of December, uh, for the two, we already have a ROI of 780% on the $250 membership, and for the 175 membership, over already over 1100% in ROI. So we be crushing it around here. Let's move right along. All right, market talk, market talk. There's a lot to kind of get through this week, but I will want to say just shout out to Meta. We had a so last week we I put the team in a Meta trade, and there was, the market does what the market does. But yeah, so we swung over the weekend, and Monday morning Meta was down. And so I let the team know, look, we got a key level here. This is the only level that matters to me right here. And I can see pre-market, we're already above that level. So we're gonna, and if as long as it holds this level, we're fine. So that seemed to be like the level that the stock kind of moved around for the week. I know on Tuesday, Meta was up Tuesday morning. Everything, the contracts pretty much came all the way back. We could have closed out of them positions then. I'm like, nah, it's market structure over P&L, market structure over EMAs. I teach the team this all the time. So we held the trade, and just wanted to let the team know we're gonna follow the price action, and as long as the structure is intact, we're gonna be fine. And we like to trade off the key levels. Meta held those levels all week. Now there was a point in the week where those contracts they were down a lot, but like I said, I was talking to KK, and we had a conversation about it. Do you remember us talking about Meta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we were discussing how it was holding. I mean, you're like, look, KK, it's coiling. Like, I'm not selling Meta. Like, I normally, I will sit if I've already gotten to a plan, like this is what I believe in, and I believe in this play. And I say, yeah, absolutely. We started discussing like, okay, well, maybe we could roll it to next week, but we all of that to say we believed in that play. You believed in the play, and we was with you. Like, nah, we're not gonna sell. And
Y-
you know what happened.
Right. You see, the rest is history. But no, the thing is, because people will say stuff like, oh, well, the only reason Meta moved is because there was a big, there was an announcement Thursday morning pre-market that Mark Zuckerberg was cutting 30% of the money that they were putting in the metaverse, right? But the thing is, it's the thing, something was happening. The market always tells you. It's like if we was, they always say read the room, when we were reading the room, I'm like, well, bulls
Right.
were holding that stock where it needed to hold. It was coiling,
Mm-hmm.
something was up. We didn't
Yep.
know what it was, but I told y'all last Sunday, if you watched the meeting last Sunday, that Meta wanted to get up into that earnings gap, and that's where
Mm-hmm.
it is now. It's up into that area, and we got back over the 50 EMA
Yep.
and the 200 EMA, and the 50 is about to cross back up above the 200, for a golden cross after death crossing. So it's looking good. We finished inside. I'll get to that later, but the whole point is there's a plan, you stick to it, and we've been trading Meta for years and years and years, and that's
Mm-hmm.
that's as you say, that's our bread and butter. But the thing
Right.
is, I just need, the whole point is just when trading is 90% psychological. So when you believe in something and it's not based off of just like empty belief, I don't want you to
Mm-hmm.
just you understand and you see what's going on and you're following your setups. Like I said, I'd rather
Right.
lose following my setup than to have these inconsistent wins just doing anything that I can't really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I can't really stand behind that. There's nothing to stand behind. And so yeah, it was triumphant. And the reason I say I'm 90% psychological for trading is because wins like this, and it was important for me to keep the team in the trade because wins like this, it helps build character and confidence because it's like, oh, we
Mm-hmm.
trusted the level. We trusted this.
Yes.
I got to see it because when you're in the storm, stuff you normally wouldn't pay attention to, now you're looking to make sure these things actually happen and you're paying attention to them now and it actually goes into your long-term memory now and it makes you feel a lot better. So, shout out to everybody who held because that was a pretty big trade. It was like an earnings trade
Mm-hmm.
and I'm
Shout out
glad we were there.
Dante for grabbing right when it held support the day before it took off and grabbed a $40 contract and turned that to almost $2,000. So like
Shout out to him.
shout
Yeah.
out to him. We had
Shout out
some
to
really,
him.
really big winners on that trade. And like Antoine said, like we stick to a process, and I feel like that's why we are successful in this community because we don't try to stray from that. And we see when it gets strayed from and how that will affect your trading psychology because like you said it is a psychological thing when you paid 400 for a contract and that was down to $40. Like are you willing to stay in it? Are you trusting what you're seeing? Are you
Well, the
looking?
thing is, though, like, so I just like in a situation like that, like I said, it's one of them things where, like, I don't wouldn't recommend people just doing that. You know what I mean? That's something I did. There are other trades where I've been in where I've taken the team out and be like, you know what, I'm gonna go on this journey alone. But it's like, and like I told you on Wednesday going into Thursday, that. Yeah, we could have gotten those 'cause we was already looking at the 680s for the following week. But I
Mm-hmm.
was like, let's just see what happens for $1,000 Thursday because I said, but on the flip side, I said Meta can gap up $10 tomorrow,
Yep.
and then and then I said, but so we'll be fine either way. I said, so let's just wait, let's just hold off, and because I said we can wait and then get the contract a day, probably a little cheaper because it'll have an extra day. I mean, one day removed off of it the next day, for the next week, but it ended up doing what it needed to do. Us pre-market before But yeah, so it's not even like I always say, like forget the price of the contract because it's market structure over P&L. So the price of the contract isn't even well, it's always relevant because we're here to make money. But I'm saying like I'm not gonna I wouldn't want to just have people just thinking, oh, okay, it's cool to just let your contract go down to that much because that's never a cool thing to do. I'm like, because on Tuesday morning when Meta came all the way back, those contracts went all the way up to like 375. We're down like $25. We were on live stream together. I could have got the team out then. And I was even a part of me where I said, you know what? We may just roll because I don't like to
Yep.
swing a contract past Wednesday because the
Hmm.
theta on that contract it doubles at that point. But it was just something about what was going on with Meta. I'm like, nah, I'm willing to take this chance on this. And but
Hmm.
I always gave them, I get on the stream. I'm like, if you want to get out of the trade, you can get out of the trade. But I'm not telling the team as a whole to get out of the trade because I'm still in this trade. And I wanted to take them, I wanted to share that with them as opposed to being too conservative because I'm like, we up so much money on a week already. And then just in between that, like I threw the SPX trade in there and a few
Hmm.
other trades to kind of absorb the
Right.
cost just in case because we were down significantly on it after a while. But I didn't even know that. I mean, well, not know that before we were down on those contracts significantly. I had already put the team in the SPX and ran them up, made them a $400 or $500 profit with that, really quickly. So when Meta was down the next day, it was cool because we were already, you know what I'm saying, already absorbed it in pretty much. So I try to make sure that it always makes sense. So that the team isn't just out here losing money. So in the event that it didn't go according to plan, we already absorbed the cost of that trade if it makes sense.
Yep. But
Yeah.
what you also was doing throughout the week, which I love, is there were consistent charts. There were consistent reminders of where we are. Like, look, we're still holding this level. This is what we're doing. And that I think that also helps with psychology and your confidence as well, because you sitting here like, what should I do? Like,
Mhm.
if you're a new trader and you don't really understand that, you consistently coming in, I think was very, very helpful this week. And help people that may have gotten out of the trade to stay in and make a large amount of money. So shout out to you for that.
No, I appreciate that. And I try to make sure I do that so they have the updates that they need and they know exactly where the key level is and reinforcing it to let them know where we were. And again, it worked out because everybody I was glad to see everybody on the receiving end of such a huge profit and going through that process together. So yeah, but shout out to you and everybody else who was a part of that because I saw was a new guy in the chat that said that one of the only reasons that he got in the trade is because of some stuff that you said in the chat. So, just like shout out to you for helping reinforce what you saw and that price action and when key levels were being hit because that
Mm-hmm.
helps out as well.
Yep. And look, a team, as long as we working as a team, we gonna make things happen. And I think the more of us that are engaging, and we try to help everyone, but I want people to come out. If you're in our community, definitely come out. We want to help you. We all trying to get this money together. I love the money.
Look, say this. Look, this. I'm glad you said that though, because check this out. Look, so like you said on Wednesday evening, Wednesday afternoon, Meta that contract was like 40 something dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So, and 5 minutes before the close, my alert that I had went off to let you know that it was retesting that key level right there, that key
Yep.
support, and there was some snipers that got in. But what the whole point is, we were still in the trade. We already knew it was reinforcing the level again.
Mm-hmm.
And if one person would have came in that chat and said, I just got the alert that Meta is retesting that support again. Is it too late for me to get in that play? Should I average down on this
Right.
play? Are
Right.
you swinging it now? Everybody knew I was swinging it, but I'm just saying like because I know for sure it was a lot of people that were not in Meta. So
Mm-hmm.
at that point, like Daquan bought 15 contracts at that
Right.
point and made over like almost $5,000, but he could have made like $18,000, but he said he left his phone home or something, so he couldn't sell it
Mm-hmm.
till later. But the whole point is like you looking at the price they paid like $65 per contract,
Mm-hmm.
and for a contract that went to over $1,100 the next day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so when you think about things like that, it's like I don't be asking the team to talk just because, just for the hell of it. You know, if you don't not sure of something, we're here to make money. So closed mouths don't get fed. You know, I'm assuming everybody was still in Meta, and that you
Right.
know, because there was a lot of snipers in there doing what they were doing. There was so many updates. It was a campaign, a Meta campaign. You know,
Right.
so the people that weren't in
Definitely
it
trying to reassure them, like,
just
look,
want.
patience is key. Just follow these levels. We gotta trust the levels and we gotta chill. And that it paid off. So,
And any
but like you
question they
said,
would
we
have
all gotta
asked,
talk together. We
any
gotta
question.
mhm.
Any question they would have asked me about Meta, you know, I
Mhm.
would have been willing to answer those questions. It's my trade.
Yes.
We in this trade. This is like a we trekking through, you know, this terrain, and it's just like, come on, we need whatever you need. I would have been there for you, but it's like, you know, like I said, trading is not about ego. It's not about being shy or being this or being that. Because at the end of the day, the people that were in that trade are the snipers, the people that be in there talking, the people that be in there asking these questions or looking for the reassurance by, you know, stating what they see. And that's what it's about. I don't care if it was just one person in the trade. I'm glad they were in it. But I'm just saying, if y'all leaving money on the table by not speaking up, I would have loved to see more contracts. But you know, I'm like, damn, what else could I have done outside of what I already done, like for that
Right.
trade, you know? And so yeah, just that's just the key. Just if you miss that big trade, then you know, just put a little bit more time in being in the chat and locking in and again, you don't. It's okay to be vulnerable. You're not expected to know everything. So, but yeah, cheers to everybody else. I don't want to spend too much time on this. We're gonna move along unless you have something else you want to add.
Nope. I think that shout out the team that was in it. We following that process. Anybody who wasn't, I'm always say is study harder and be locked in with us because we gonna help. Everybody's gonna when people come out with a question in our community, you gonna get about 6, 7 people that's gonna come out and give you some bars. So, let's just keep working on that. And I feel like that's just gonna push us to the next level.
Absolutely. All right, so now economic data this week. So you know we got FOMC and we get the dot plot also. So I'm looking forward to see what we pretty much already know we're going to get another 25 basis point, but we're going to be listening for any change language or whatever to see what Powell is considering doing. Because again, we get the decision, the rate the rate hike or cut decision. We know we're getting it cut. We've been getting they've been cutting. But yeah, so we'll see what they're going to say. But then also there's the press conference that's really important, and that's what most people will be waiting for to hear what Jerome Powell has to say during the presser. So I'm looking forward to the meeting. I think it's going to be an interesting one, and yeah, we'll have to just wait and see what happens and go
Always
from
a
there.
good one when it's a dot plot. That's a
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and for people that don't know, we'll pretty much get projections into what we'll see what all of the other Fed presidents and governors think as far as what we should be doing and their projections over the next 3 months, the next quarter. So not just what they're doing today, I'm sorry, on Wednesday, but what they'll be doing over the next several months. And so that's important because again, they could see one thing or be doing one thing for now, but in the Fed is pretty much they're late. So we're moving. We're you know it's a lot that's going on, but we're pretty much behind. And so we'll see what Powell has to say and if there's any surprises that that we should get from Jerome Powell. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it and yeah, that's pretty much it for that. As far as economic data, we have the NFIB Small Business Index Tuesday. We have ADP, a weekly employment change Tuesday. We have JOLTS data on Tuesday. Employment Cost Index Wednesday. Like I said, we got the rate cut. I mean rate decision on Wednesday. Then we got jobless claims Thursday and trade balance on Thursday as well. So we'll just see how everything goes. And there are some other things. I'm not going to get into it right now. I'll talk to the team about it. Some of the things that we're expecting for Powell to possibly discuss as a surprise here. So, but talk to you guys more about that a little later and go from there. But let's just kind of hop into some charts really quickly. Right, let me switch this over. So now start with Meta. Man, Meta finished inside on Friday. I like a nice inside candle. Like I said, it reclaimed the 50 and the 200 EMA. So I'm looking for, I'll say over 675. Look for a move to 680.50, and then we got 683.36 and so on. Now, if we lose 660, I'll look for a retest of 657, and then we got 653 and so on. Because this is a nice gap down here. So if it starts to come down, it could possibly fill the gap, but we'll just see how it plays out. Hopefully we just get the continuation to the upside, but it's always follow the price action. This is how the weekly finished. It looked pretty strong. Nice reversal. Okay, go on here. This is Apple. Apple chart looks pretty good. We went up and we hit the all-time high. We're getting a retest. This was a bullish flag breakout. Started to go up, and now it's coming down to retest this area. It looked like that's where it's headed, at least down here to retest this. So what obviously we play both sides. We play options, but I'll start with the low side. If we were to lose the 278 level. So we lose 278. My first target on this would be 276.25. Now, it's a few ways this could play out. It could possibly, open and go back up and retest this resistance, reject it and come down. Or if it takes out the 281.14, then look for, I would wait for some stabilization because you don't have to get in the move right after it happens, right after it triggers. Look for some stabilization over this level here up in this area. But yeah, so over the 281.14, we'll probably possibly get a nice move up um to 284.44. That's where the first level I have for that. But keep Apple on watch. It looked like it's trying to cool off a little bit because it's been running for quite some time. It's a nice move up. So a little retest ain't hurt nobody. Now, a strong retest, a strong bullish move would be just a retest of here and to take off from there to take out the high, depending on how things go. But yeah, keep Apple on watch. All right, Tesla. Tesla looks great. Tesla looks great. I like this. Nice chart. Nice chart here for Tesla. All right, so over 458. I'll just say over 459 for Tesla. So over 459, give that some margin. The first target on this would be 466.23. That's where I'm looking for Tesla. We already back into this channel here. It looking pretty good. Now if we lose 240, I'm sorry, if we lose 251.66, my first target on this would be 240. I'm sorry, I'm saying two. If we lose 451.66, my first target would be 447.34 for Tesla, okay? And that kind of almost lines up with this gap fill. Obviously give us some margin and we'll see what happens here because this looks pretty bullish, but we're going to pretty much follow the price action, see what happens. Here's how the weekly finished on Tesla. Another reversal here. This looks pretty good for a continuation for the weekly. Yeah, so let's go ahead and move right along. Tesla looks great. QQQ. Another bullish flag breakout for continuation. Finished with an inverse hammer, but it's still um, the reversal is still intact though. It's still in force here. So over 628.92, I'm looking for a move to 631.51. Now, if we lose if we lose, what I'll say, you're gonna give this some margin. If we lose six, if we lose that 639, lose 639, my first target on this would be six. Yeah, I'm sorry, 623.39. If we lose 623.39, I'm looking for a retest of 619.75 on this one. So yeah, keep it on watch. I mean, it's starting to give a little rising wedge here. So, we like to keep an eye on these rising wedges because those are bearish patterns, but it could just be a channel that's growing up too. So, but we'll just see what happens because things been pretty strong. We got a nice pullback first and it's moving pretty good. So let's just keep it on watch. IWM, similar pattern, but this one I like to see. Here we go. I like a nice retest. We got a nice retest right here, and then we got a continuation to the upside. We're pushing the all-time highs again for IWM. Shit, hold on. We're pushing the all-time highs again. We came up here, retested it, and rejected off of it. I'm not saying it won't push higher. It looks like it wants to, but right now is this. Let me see how this finished. Yeah, so it's finished inside on Friday. So it's a few ways that you could play this. Let me just mark up a few areas here though. Just got to. I like when we get up into new places. So I'll mark up a few places. Yeah, so as you if you zoom out here, because I made this channel on the weekly chart so you can see it better here. I think I made it on the yeah. So all of these channels within channels, there's a lot going on within this channel. So you see we're getting closer to the top of the channel. And if I go out even further, just to show you, because I probably did make this on the monthly, yeah, you can see that, right? And it's a channel. It's still an uptrend on this channel, but it's a lot of variance in this, right? You can see. So just wanted to zoom out so you guys can see, because there's a lot of noise on the chart. So it could break the all-time high and go higher, but this is looking real triple topish right here. It could come down, but we'll just see what happens. If it does take out, if we're able to clear the 252.66, look for a move up to two. Yeah, the all-time high on this is yeah, the all-time high is 250. Hold on one second. Yeah, that's the all-time high. Okay, yeah, 250. All right, so yeah, if we're able to clear that 252.66, the all-time high, I'm just going to make the all-time high that level actually. So the all-time high, that 252.77 area, we take that area out, then we should be able to break through to 253 and then so on. But like I said, I don't have any levels up there. And I like in uncharted territory, I kind of like just tread lightly. And this is a slow mover anyway. So we have to wait for a breakout and see how that pretty much happens. Now, on the flip side, if we were to lose 250.28, then my first target on this would be yeah, if we lose that 250.20, at first target 249.74, 248.38, and then we got the 9 EMA right there at 246.86, so somewhere in that area. So just kind of keep an eye on this because again, this is looking a little triple topish up here. It probably comes down, and but the selling on this was kind of low. So yeah, Goldman Sachs. So look, last week, man, last Sunday, I put y'all on this stock. I always do. And so this was Sunday right here. This was this was Friday when I was telling y'all about this, man. This thing broke up and took out the all-time high again. This is the channel. I had this broadening formation already on this chart from last week. Haven't touched it since. And you see we took out the all-time high and it's on the move. This thing looking good. I like Goldman Sachs anyhow, so we just gonna keep this one on watch. I got the broadening formation, so it has some room either way on this. So again, I'm not saying like you don't want to chase a stock like this. It's good for a nice retest. Goldman is good for a nice retest. Yeah. So one sec. All right, but yeah. So what I'll say now, over 856.20. Look for a move to 860. Let's look for a move to 860. Now, if we were to find a way to lose that the 836.52, then we possibly retest that 833.90. Then we got 820, but it'll probably bounce off the 9 EMA. It's been doing that for some time. But yeah, keep it on watch. It has a lot of room either way. NVDA, this is a nice chart right here too. And it could go, that's the thing. I see it's a little bearish flag here forming, but also got a little bearish flag forming. It looked like we trying to, it could, there's a few things that can happen here. We got the 9 EMA, we got the 50, it's under the 50, and we're going to just see how price goes. It looked like the oscillator, and we got the MACD line trying to cross the signal line. So it could break up to the upside. It's a lot going on over here. I could look at this, so many ways that you can look at this. You get what I'm saying? So it could be a bear flag. You could see a wedge starting to form, all of that. So what I'll say is, we obviously gonna follow the price action and see what happens here with it. But this looks pretty good. Looks pretty good to me here. So what I'll say is over 184.66. The first target on this would be 187 and so on, because I think it got room here. I got a few levels here. Now, if we were to lose 180.91. The first target on this would be 179.38. But yeah, keep it on watch. It has some room to go either way. It looked like it's trying to break the upside, but it's been coiling in this area for a while, as you can see, for a few days. So we want to keep it on watch. This could be a big trade. We got bullish engulfing here on the weekly too. So I like a nice 222 reversal with a bullish engulfing. Looks really good on the weekly. This could be really bullish trade. You see how looking at the weekly changed the whole thing, changed my whole. As I was looking, it was able to go either way on the daily, but on that weekly changed
Mm-hmm.
everything. Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So now look, I'm like, so yeah, I see this bearish flag, but that weekly kind of made me want to go there, more confluence there. You know what I'm saying? So I can still keep that there, but I'm just saying, but that weekly kind of changed it all up. But yeah, so that looks pretty good. Keep it on watch. Netflix. Yeah, we know the split occurred. I thought I had already adjusted, probably just not on this one. So Netflix finished with an inverse hammer. It tried to recover here, and it's just it doesn't look good right now. They just bought Warner Brothers Discovery. They spent like billions of dollars on that, and some people aren't happy about it. Netflix has a lot of free cash flow, so they can do that. But they just had earnings. The stock sold off because it was overhauled, and the performance, the earnings was good, but it was just like it wasn't. They priced in a lot. But yeah, so here we go, Netflix. Right now, so it looked like it wants to continue to the downside. We gonna obviously follow the price action. Under 97.74. The first target on this would be 95.16 and so on. Now, if we found a way to get back over 105, the first target on this would be 106.19, and then 110 back up there near to the 200-day EMA. But it looked like it wants to continue down to the downside. Now, a lot of volume came in here on Friday to stop it from completely dying, but it still finished bearish. Now here's the levels here on the weekly. So that volume that did come in, it sustained this level here. We need to pay attention to that. It could bounce here, but there was a lot of selling pressure here on the week as well. So yeah, keep Netflix on watch. That's the last one I'm gonna hit for now. Thank y'all for attending. And if you got any questions, please leave them in the comments. And for everyone who's in the community, I will be providing some updates for you guys later. Thank you for hopping on, KK, and thank you guys for viewing. Cheers.
Welcome. Cheers.